No, it's a public event. The festivities down at Ship Point. Anybody can come down. We're gonna have park and rides from behind Save on Foods Memorial Center because parking's limited in the downtown core, as we know. It's a safe family atmosphere and alcohol-free event, and it's for everybody. The alumni game, of course, there's tickets being sold now on select your tickets for that event. The gala does have tables available and seats available for that event as well. So yeah, we just would like everybody and anybody to participate. Don't hesitate to reach out. We do have a website out there now that you can click on and get all further details.
And Hockey Day in Canada, January 17th to 20th, with the Alumni Celebrity Game, January 19th at Save on Memorial Center. Okay, so yeah, just want to chat a little bit about as the other podcasts that we've had is talking a little bit about the youth hockey and development. Obviously Cam can speak as well, and John, fill in on, I mean, you're right in there with the community on, I'm sure, many hockey families and friends that you interact with. So I think, just Cam, since you've started 3 years ago with BC Hockey, what you've been able to kind of see um, just as you had progressed in that position of development with the youth.
I think well, we could spend hours talking about everything I've seen, and I mean, it was a bit of an eye opener for me. I mean, my experience with minor hockey and youth hockey ended when I was no longer a minor and a youth, like many of us who grow up playing, hockey in some capacity, because then after that, I wasn't involved in hockey through the middle of my adult years, except playing beer league with my pals. I was practicing law, and then I was off, in the administration of hockey, and then in competitive hockey and with management teams in the NHL and the WHL. So coming back down to grassroots and seeing what's happened in the last 30 years in terms of how kids and families are engaging with our game was a bit of an eye-opener for me. It's not the same as it was in 1978, believe me. The expectations are higher. The politics is a little more ingrained. The expense and the cost is enormous. We have enough barriers in our game, with the need for specialized equipment, the need for specialized ice surfaces. All of those things come with a cost. The need for specialized training, specialized skills. It's not like playing soccer. You just got to run down the field and learn how to kick a ball. You've got a whole bunch of additional skills that you're not born with, that you have to somehow undertake. And then you pile onto that difficulty in accessing ice, difficulty in terms of the cost. And then you pile on top of that some of the bad press that hockey has received recently, where people think it might not be a safe place for your son or daughter to play because, there's, talk about it being, super aggressive and either physically or mentally risky. And then on top of that, you have a pandemic, which says the very thing that we love to do with our game, which is to gather together and play a contact sport in some cases, you're not allowed to do for 2 years during the winter season. So it's been a real challenge seeing what the state of hockey is. Despite all that, it's stronger than ever. People in Canada want to play the game. New Canadians want to engage in the game because it's a way to engage in Canadian culture. People that left the game want to come back and play. People are staying in the game longer. Used to be in my era, if you weren't on the AAA team by the time you're 18, you probably might as well just stop playing. That's not true anymore. People are finding a niche and finding a way to play. So it's been gratifying to see. And it's not just local. I mean, we're seeing it here in the South Island, but we're really seeing it all across BC and all across Canada. Just this feeling that despite all of the setbacks and all of the things that can mitigate against this game as being a part of your life, because it's complicated. Despite all of that, it seems to me to be as healthy as ever. Yeah, I keep my fingers and toes crossed, for the health of our game. But if there's good news out of bad news, the bad news for some communities, particularly in the Lower Mainland and in Vancouver Island, is We don't have the advantage that Saskatchewan, Alberta, and Manitoba has, where they can flood rinks and anyone who wants to play has got a place to play. We're restricted by our inability to create ice except artificially in facilities. That's the choke point here in Lower Mainland and BC. But except for that, that I guess is a good news story, because if the game wasn't healthy otherwise, that wouldn't be a problem. So I guess that's the silver lining on that. But overall, I'm pleased with the way things are going. It's been our game, the community sport model for delivering hockey, which is what Hockey Canada and BC Hockey do. It runs off of the hard work and the dedication of volunteers mostly, right? People are being paid. There's coaches being paid, and obviously officials get their stipend when they go. But it is largely, at almost all ages, up to the super competitive, a volunteer operated system with tens of thousands of volunteers every weekend making it happen. And that makes it a good news cultural story for Canada, and just a win in every direction. And when I go to when we have our championship weekends in March, right, from U13 and 15 and 9, and I pop into the rinks there and they're full and people are excited and cheering, and it almost doesn't matter who wins, although I'm sure it does. It's this, like, it just, the energy you get from that makes it easy to come to work.
That's awesome. And just like, talk to many former teammates and players that I've played against, all in hockey and all that across Canada, even into North America kind of thing, just how hockey's evolved everywhere. I believe also, just thinking from the evolving standpoint, is everyone coming out of the game, including my parents' generation, but into my generation, of how much opportunity we had, more opportunity we had, I should say, to keep playing. And now the kids now, how much opportunity they have to keep playing. And it doesn't just have to be, get to the NHL, get to the pros or college hockey. They can be playing club hockey in many different places around, and that just continues, their development for hockey, of course, and the journey of their life. But it just challenges them as people as well to keep developing.
And John can speak to this too, because he's been involved with the BCHL in the past, although they're not in sanctioned hockey anymore, so we don't want to talk about them. No, I'm kidding. But I mean, it's an optimistic, it's an optimistic thing when you work in an environment where there are people coming through that are, they're mostly not going to go to the National Hockey League, but that's not really their goal anyway. They're just trying to find a way to keep hockey in their lives. And if it does work out and they're able to, make a career out of it, like you did, Brandon, that's icing on the cake. But, going on and getting an education, getting a scholarship to go here or there, even playing in the Western League and using their scholarship package, it's wonderful. But, that's the top 5% or so of players at that age. The rest are finding a way to keep hockey in their lives, which is really gratifying for me. I mean, it's just, when you make this game a part of your life, it gives you other ongoing connections, skills, socialization and community involvement that just pays dividends, 10 times, what you think it might, and it has nothing to do with money. So that's my stump speech on the value of hockey.
Of course, yeah.
We could talk about the Vancouver Island Junior Hockey League, because they're sanctioned, and I know Brandon played for our arch rival Victoria Cougars when I was in ownership of the Peninsula Panthers, and my son played for the Panthers as well. So that is a perfect league of what you're talking about, Cam, about players just wanting to play at a high level. And go to UVic, go to Camosun, carry on with their trades training, whatever it may be. And then others like Brandon, who come along at 16, 17 years old and looking to advance to the next level as well. But we were so fortunate on this island, and the Lower Island in particular, the amount of hockey we have and the amount of skilled hockey players that come out of this area with the limitations on ice that you've already spoken about is amazing. The Ben brothers, it just one of many, and it's in large part, I think, to the opportunities that the VIJHL offer and the major program, of course, in although it's called something else now, sorry, but that's what it was called at BC Hockey, and the opportunities kids have to play at all levels, but also if they do want to advance skill wise, they have opportunities to work with people like you, Brandon, and the programs that the BC Hockey have into play, and private programs as well. So I think we're just very fortunate to have as many programs in an area, in such a really small geographical area that we have on Vancouver Island, and southern Vancouver Island in particular. And it bodes well for the future of development of hockey for players of all ages and all generations to come.